the young middle school and high school days of Mr. MegaManFan, our computer lab was known for Apple products. Apple II, Apple II Plus, Apple IIc, Apple IIe, and finally, about the time I was a freshman, we started getting Apple 2GS computers and one lone Macintosh, which I remember having a built-in black and white display and a really weird floppy drive that wouldn't take discs of any other kind other than those formatted for the Macintosh. And there were almost no games we could play on it anyway, so it seemed kind of pointless. But the Apple IIgs was not pointless because we found lots of games to play on that, and we cracked them and copied them around freely because we were little shits who didn't care about piracy. One of those games that we freely copied around to each other was Zany Golf. And lo and behold, there is a port of Zany Golf for Sega Genesis, which makes it a perfect entry for Genesis does, especially given that, as far as I'm aware, it was not ported to any other console. Oh, it made it to Commodore Amiga and Atari ST computers, but it did not make it to any home console other than Sega Genesis. There's probably a good reason for that. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad game, but I'm saying this is not a good way to control the game, because one of the strengths of Zany Golf playing it on an Apple IIgs was that you could control it with a mouse. And when you're playing a golf game like this, a miniature golf game in particular, you want to be able to gauge the distance and accuracy of your shot. You want to draw back on it like you're drawing a pool cue to hit the ball and move the whatever ball you're aiming towards into the hole, which is essentially what you're doing here, but trying to click on it with a D-pad and an A button and draw back when you're aiming, it doesn't feel right compared to having a mouse in your left or your right hand, depending on which one you use, or if you're ambidextrous, either one, it doesn't matter. Point being, there is a precision you can gain by putting the cursor just where you want. When you hit the ball, you can draw it back just as far as you want and get just as much power as you want to carry them off the walls and into the hole. And doing that with a D-pad it's just, I don't want to say it's impossible, because I got as far as the fifth hole in this video that you're going to watch, but it's cumbersome. It's annoying. It's not right. I'm biased, of course, because I grew up playing the Apple IIgs version, but it doesn't feel like I can really aim the ball where I want it to go. But let's talk about the game itself instead of me ranting about how this would have been better if there was a way to control it with the... there aren't many games that use the Sega mouse. There is one, believe it or not, but I don't believe Zany Golf is one of them. I've never heard of any mouse compatibility for it, and most of the games, the few games that do use it, make a point of the fact that they are mouse compatible, and they're usually, ironically enough, conversions of computer games to the Sega Genesis, which is basically what this is. Anyway, this game was designed by Will Harvey along with Ian Gooding, Jim Nichols, and Douglas Polton, and it was written for the 2GS, which is probably why it's the best version of the game. And this was developed while Harvey was studying at Stanford University, so I guess it was basically his way of distracting himself and having a little fun before, he had to get down to serious studies and finish his degree. So good on him that he found a zany way to entertain himself by making a miniature golf course on computer that you could interact with, not just by hitting the ball, but some of the objects on the screen you have to actually click on to get them to do anything, and it's not always obvious which ones they are, hence the zany part. Like on the hamburger hole, you have to click on the hamburger to make it jump up and down higher and higher to reveal the hole underneath it that you put your ball into. That's pretty zany, huh? I mean, maybe this seems a little too, what should I say? A little too try hard. I don't know. It didn't feel that way to me as a kid that he was injecting so much zaniness into miniature golf. To me, it was just fun. But to more jaded eyes, they might look at it and go, man, jumping hamburgers, a pinball table, what? Why? Why would they do this to miniature golf, which is already pretty zany to begin with? It's just overkill, I suppose. But it was fun when I was a kid, and it's still fun despite the Genesis controls not being very suited to it, which leads to the fact that they actually took a level out of this game for the Sega Genesis, because there is a level called Magic Carpet, and the carpet in question actually allows you to move the golf ball around with your mouse. Instead of just shooting the ball where you want it, you can actually click on it and drag it where you want it. Kind of cheating, but again, it's Zany Golf, so Will Harvey was just making and breaking the rules as he went along any way he felt like it. But since there is no mouse and there's no mouse support, they just took that level out of the Sega Genesis version altogether, and the final hole ends up being the secret hole, which you could only get to on the Apple IIgs by getting under 26, under par for all 9 holes, or by activating a special secret on the 9th and final hole, which would take you to a 10th hole, which was a clone of Breakout. So you don't get all of the experience that you get on the 2GS, nor do you get to control it in the most ideal way. And if you're looking to buy a physical copy of Zany Golf, well, here's the good or bad news, depending on your point of view on that subject. Zany Golf for Sega Genesis is a game you can get for $13 loose and $43 complete. Certainly not among the cheaper of games, but definitely not at the outrageous, most expensive high end. But you definitely won't be getting it for a sawbuck. If you find it at a pawn shop, go ahead and grab it. If you're not into miniature golf and you think this is too over the top, don't go paying the full current price charting or eBay, depending on which one you want to gauge by. It's fun, but I also think once you master the holes and you get through all 9 of them, it's not something you're necessarily going to be playing over and over again. It's probably more fun if you have a group of friends and you pass around the controller and each try to get as far as you can or get the lowest under par that you can. But as a solo mission, it can be over far too quickly. Once you master the holes, what's the replay value? You can't download more holes. It's on a physical cartridge. You're kind of stuck. Maybe somebody's hacked it and made new holes for it, but that puts it outside of the realm of this review. I can only review what's in the game the way it came. I'm Mr. MegaManFan, and as always, thank you for watching Genesis Does. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you back for a future video where I look at something that's probably not as zany as Zany Golf. I'm going to leave you on footage of the fan hole or windmill hole, depending on which way you want to look at it. And I know there's a secret to activating the fans, but on the 2GS that was done by clicking the left and the right mouse buttons, and there are no left and right mouse buttons here, so I'm not sure what turns the fans on in this version. And I'm guessing it was the A or the C buttons, but no, it couldn't have been the A button because the A was what I was using to shoot. Maybe it was the B and the C. I couldn't figure it out, so I'll do it again in a future gameplay episode where I'm not recording it for a review for Genesis Does. But again, thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. And if you're new to the channel, please click on that subscribe button and you'll get new episodes of Genesis Does every week, Thursday night, as well as new content every single day. I've always got something new. Check back Mr. MegaManFan or MMF187 and see what I've got for you that day. But for now, bye. Thanks for watching. Zany Golf, it's alright, I guess.